Well, what's up, you guys? It's Brad here, and welcome to another episode of Ask Brick. It has certainly been a while, and I'm really excited to be back here today with a bunch of really cool questions. The last episode of Ask Brick I did was probably filmed like two and a half months ago before I went to Europe, and I've been back now for a while, so it has just been crazy with all the content that I made while I was in Europe and trying to get it out on my channel, but most of it is out there now, which I'm really excited about. So as I said, I've got a lot of questions here. So this first one here was actually asked on episode number 89 of Ask Brick, and I just didn't get to it because I had filmed 89 and 90 at the same time. This one's from Jolly Time at 2476, and he already knows the answer to this one. It is, are you planning on going to Skærbæk Fan Weekend anytime soon? So you guys will hopefully know by now that I did actually get a chance to attend Skærbæk Fan Weekend. I don't think I really talked about it on my YouTube channel much before I went, other than a week or two before, because it was a pretty last minute decision. But I wasn't initially, when I started 2024, was not going to be going to Europe for a LEGO convention. And then when I went to Chicago and had so much fun, and then went to Virginia and had even more fun, I was like, yeah, I'm going to Europe and I'm going to Skærbæk. And like things just really worked out. And Jolly Time was one of the awesome guys that I got to spend so much time with while I was over at Skærbæk Fan Weekend, which was absolutely amazing. He's a really great guy. I had so much fun with him. So yeah, I was planning on going to Skærbæk Fan Weekend. Funny enough, when you asked that, I just hadn't kind of publicly announced it yet. You guys, as I said, it's an amazing convention. Definitely go check it out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it there next year, unfortunately, just because I feel like it's a great convention. If I lived close, it'd be like Brick World, where I go every single year. But because it is such a hike to get there, it is such a, it's not just a quick, 8-hour drive. It is a 8-hour flight and a lot more expensive. So it's one of those conventions I feel like I'll do every few years, because it's like every year might be a little bit much, but every few years, definitely 100% would love to go to. And speaking of going to Europe and being so long since my last episode, you guys will notice I got a new t-shirt here. So gone are the days where I wear the yellow t-shirt that represents a LEGO convention that nobody should ever go to. But I got this really cool one from Legoland Billin, which I'm really excited about. I wanted a new t-shirt for a while that was LEGO related in yellow so I could stay on brand with Ask Brick, and I found this one at Legoland and I'm very excited about it. So this is going to be my new shirt that I wear in all my future episodes of Ask Brick. Alright, this next question here is from 3D Kiwi. Ask Brick, you mentioned at a lot of the US LEGO conventions you can't bring LEGO MOCs, question mark? Wouldn't this then exclude beginners starting out with LEGO collecting from taking part in the convention? I did say in a previous video that US LEGO conventions are for MOCs, and I mean that, and so does everybody else there. So yes, theoretically, if you're not a LEGO MOC builder, you would be excluded from displaying LEGO at the show because they don't want official LEGO sets. If you're a new LEGO collector and you only build sets and then put them on display here like I do, that's absolutely amazing. And a lot of us like that are just LEGO set collectors. We're not really MOC builders. But that's not the purpose of LEGO conventions. You can go to a store and look at a box, or you can go to any LEGO 8-Ball's room and look at their shelves, or you can go even to a LEGO store and look at the sets that they have, built on their displays. That's where you can go and look at LEGO sets on display. The reason people go to LEGO conventions is because they want to see cool, original ideas. And unfortunately, LEGO sets just aren't cool, and they're cool, but they're not original. So can you imagine if you went to a LEGO convention and 20 people brought the exact same set to put on display? That is not a very good convention. So yes, LEGO conventions are totally meant for MOC displays. If you're not a MOC builder, you are more than welcome to go and attend and take a look at everything that's there, but you wouldn't be able to display LEGO sets because that's not allowed. Most LEGO conventions have rules that you can't have official LEGO sets there. So, if you have a city or something like that and you have some official LEGO sets in the city, that is totally fine, but again, that's still not as impressive. You can have a cool LEGO city layout, but if it's just official LEGO sets put together, not that cool. You really have to do some MOC building and stuff like that to really wow people. So yeah, if you are only a LEGO set builder, you would be kind of excluded from taking part in the display aspect of a LEGO convention, but you could definitely do so many other things at the convention to really feel involved and engaged. So you are still definitely 100% encouraged to come, but yeah, these are for LEGO MOCs to be on display and not official LEGO sets. Ooh, this one's a good question here. Ask Brick, where did you get the black base / frame for your LEGO portrait? So they're referring to the portraits that I have over here in my LEGO room of all of my LEGO art sets, and specifically this one of me right here. So it is actually just the portrait mosaic maker from the LEGO store. I made this several years ago now when I went to New York City for the first time. I made a whole video about that, and I came home and I unboxed it up and built it. This is actually what those sets look like when they initially come out of the package. This one is obviously of my dog and cat, Maddie and Dexter. Obviously didn't bring them to the portrait studio, but I used pictures online, but these are just the sets there. It comes on a 48x48 base plate. However, it is a little bit different than the portrait I made of myself because I actually put it in the same frame frame as the Lego art sets here. And how I did this is I actually made a video about this. Instead of just using the 48 by 48 base plate that came with the set, I actually went and I ordered another art print set. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a Harry Potter one or something like that. I ordered the one that had the best part out value on BRICKLink. I paid $150 for that set, and instead of building that set like I should have, I used the frame and all of the base plate pieces to go ahead and build my mosaic here. So I used the 1x1 studs from the Mosaic Maker set, and I used the actual foundation of the art print set, and I made one set here. And then all the 1x1 studs that came in that set, I actually just listed on my BRICKLink store. I still think 90% of them are still there, so that maybe wasn't the best investment ever, but that's how I did it, because originally when I was going to just buy the pieces on BRICKLink and piece it together because I wanted the frame to look the same as these ones, it was actually pretty expensive to do that. I feel like it was going to be like $70, $80 or something like that just for the frame, but for $150 I could get this whole set and then actually part it out and sell the studs and stuff like that and kind of recoup the cost there. So honestly, that was probably a bad investment because, as I said, I haven't really sold those sets and stuff like that since then, but that is basically how I was able to get this frame for my Mosaic Maker, was just the fact that I bought it from an art print set. This next question is from Bricks. Ask Brick, why are all of your Europe videos so delayed? This is a great question. I wish they weren't delayed, but they are, and the reason that they are so delayed is because Europe for me is also, it's a work trip, but it was also a vacation. I hadn't really gone on vacation this year, so this was my chance to go and kick back and just enjoy. So while I was in Europe, I didn't really do any editing or things like that. I did a ton of filming. You know, when I was in Scotland, I filmed some videos, and I did actually edit those ones at the airport, so you guys got to see them earlier. But then as soon as I got to Denmark, things just got absolutely crazy. Like, I filmed my Copenhagen videos, and then the next day I went to AFOL day, and then the next day I went to Skærbæk Fan Weekend for 4 days, and then I went back to Billund, and it was just like, when I made all of these videos, when did I possibly have time to edit them? You know, if I wanted to edit my Copenhagen videos, I would have had to do it during AFOL day or that night, but I was spending time with other AFOLs. If I wanted to edit my AFOL day video, I would have had to do that at Skærbæk Fan Weekend and not enjoy the weekend. And if I wanted to edit the Skærbæk Fan Weekend, I would have had to do that while I was in Bill. Like, it just, like, it didn't make sense. And then after Denmark, I got to Amsterdam, where I actually did film a video. I filmed the video on release day and then uploaded it because it wasn't a hard video to, you know, I didn't have to do a lot of footage to go through. It was all pretty much filmed in a couple minutes. So like that video I got to put out there earlier because I had a little bit more time in Amsterdam to do it. But like the rest of the vacation, I was on vacation. I was looking at the sites. I was enjoying it. I didn't spend thousands of dollars to fly across the world to sit in a room and edit videos. Like, I just wasn't there in each place long enough to take a day to do stuff like that. And it just, like, I knew, like, in terms of like timing and stuff like that, I wasn't really missing much. Like, it's not like this video had to get out there. I gonna lose, you know, all this money, because if I was gonna make all this money from it, then I would have, you know, taken the time to do that, stayed longer and stuff like that. But I'm like, I feel like the videos are gonna do the same whether I post them now or post them in 2 weeks. So that's why they're delayed. And then when I got back here, I started editing as fast as I could. I put everything out in chronological order except for the Amsterdam, which went earlier. Like, I filmed like all the vlogs and stuff like that. There was hours and hours of footage to go through and edit. When you're going to like a Skærbæk Fan Weekend, I think I had like 3 hours of footage for that weekend that I had to get down to a 30-minute vlog. So it was a lot of editing and stuff like that. Lots of content from that. But yeah, the reason they're just so delayed is because I was on vacation and didn't, you know, come take the time on vacation to edit. I feel like in the future, in an ideal world, I'd have an editor where I could just pass off all that footage to, and then they could edit my videos and kind of post them more in real time. But yeah, the reason that they were so delayed is just because I was, you know, had other priorities while I was in Europe, and that was being on vacation and living in the moment. So that's the same reason why all my like convention vlogs and everything like that are always delayed a few days. Like, even at Brickworld, I'm not filming all day at Brickworld and then coming home and editing that footage. Like, no, I want to hang out with my friends at Brickworld and do the whole thing the next day. And like, that's why I do the 5-day convention and then come home here and spend the next 5 days editing the 5 days worth of vlogs. And that's why they're always like a week late, just because yeah, I want to actually enjoy my time. So that's basically why everything's delayed. It's just because I'm a one-man show, and for me, I don't want to sacrifice the actual experience and the enjoyment of what I'm doing for videos. So it's finding a balance. Another question here about Europe. Ask Brick, why did you go back to Denmark? So I kind of already answered in this video, but I had some vacation days from my regular 9-to-5 job that I needed to use by the end of the year. I did want to go to Europe. That was something that I was like prioritizing to do a little vacation this year. And Skærbæk Fan Weekend was happening. So I was like, let me go back to Denmark. It's been since 2018 since I've been there. I knew I'd get a chance to go to the Lego house and stuff like that as well. I didn't know I was going to go to AFOL Days when I originally went to Europe, but I did get to go to AFOL Days as well. You guys can't see it now, but I've got all of these Lego sets right here. Oh, this one fell. But I've got all these Lego house sets right here that I'm going to, expand with my new Lego house sets collection, so I'm very excited about. But it's been a while since the year 2018. These are the only things that I picked up, so I wanted to go re-experience Lego house again, buy the new sets, and also do Skærbæk Fan Weekend. So that's kind of the reason why I went back to Denmark, just because I wanted to, and as I said, I made a whole European vacation out of it as well, so it was really worth it. Oh, and I've also never been to Copenhagen, so that was something that I wanted to add to my list this time as well. This next question is from a Swanee6627. Asperk, which Lego conventions do you think are worth attending? This one's honestly a little bit of a tricky question because I think like a Lego convention being worth attending is kind of at the eyes of the beholder. It's kind of a personal preference. So before you decide that, I feel like you really kind of got to decide like what are you going to the Lego convention for? Like, are you going to look at mocks? Are you going to connect with people? Are you going to buy Lego? Like, what's your reason? What's your purpose of actually going to the convention? And in terms of like which ones are worth attending or not, like I really honestly feel like everybody but BrickFest Live is worth attending. Like any Lego convention run by an AFOL like is going to be a pretty good event. Some are going to be obviously better than others, but like for the most part, like AFOLs are running them, so they AFOLs want AFOLs to have a good time. I go to a smaller show here in Toronto called Bricks in the Six. Toronto, that's a great show for me. It's a great show, by the way. I highly encourage anyone to come for it. It's a small show and it's only been getting bigger every single year. For me, that one's a no-brainer. It's worth attending. It's about an hour from my house. I don't have to get a hotel. I don't have to book flights to it. Like, it's very low effort for me to attend the convention. It's a great way to put it in. All I really have to do is buy my ticket and put it in the calendar for the weekend and actually show up. A convention like Chicago or Virginia, for example, a little bit of a higher commitment from me. They are multiple day conventions, so I have to go to a different country. I can't work remotely. Like, I have to take time off work. I've got to drive all the way there, fly there as well. I've got to book hotels and stuff like that. Definitely, I can't eat at home. A lot more expensive to go to those conventions. Or there's ones like Skærbæk, which are even more commitment, because like that one I have to take time off work. I've got to fly to another country, have your passport, you're on vacation, you're in a different time zone, to pre-schedule all these videos. Like, yeah, that one's a huge commitment. And those are all just ones I went to or will be going to this year, but I would say they're all worth it. Like 100% they're all worth it. But like I can't go to them necessarily every year. Like Skærbæk, I talked about earlier in this episode, as much as I love Skærbæk, like realistically, I don't think I'll be able to attend that one every year. Not because it's necessarily not worth it, just because like the convention itself is worth it, but like everything else involved in the convention isn't worth it every year. Like the cost and the time and stuff like that. Like I can't do that every year. Going to Toronto, like the convention itself, again, also worth it. But like the commitment involved in it is also worth it for me because I don't have to get a hotel and stuff like that. Chicago's going to be the one for me. I'll always go to Chicago because it's so much fun. It is, it's worth it in terms of like the drive and like the extra commitment and stuff like that, and also worth it in terms of the convention. Virginia, same idea. Convention, 100% worth it. And I think the actual, like the process of getting there was like pretty worth it as well. I myself am a little bit of a maybe of that one this year. Like I'm not sure if I'm going to make it next year or not, but like I would just say conventions, like most of the conventions are worth it themselves. What you're actually evaluating is whether or not the hassle and stuff like that of getting there is worth it. Like if you have to fly there, understandably that weighs on like if the convention is worth it or not. So it really just kind of depends where you are. If you're local, if you're in the US and you're like able to go to all these conventions all year and like they're pretty low effort for you to get there, go to as many as you can. They're all 100% worth it. But if you're flying to all these conventions and having to take time off work or prioritize other things in your life, like it's like a personal preference. You got to kind of weigh the pros and cons and see if that one's worth it or not. So it's totally up to you. I can't just give a blanket answer here, unfortunately, but yeah, Lego conventions in general tend to be worth it, except BrickFest Live. Never worth it. Never to do that one. Ever, ever, ever. All right, and the final question here today, this one's from Emmanuel Lawton. Ask Brick, why was there a protest at the Piece by Piece screening at TIFF, which is Pharrell Williams' new movie, Piece by Piece? And the short answer was why there was a protest there is because from my understanding now, and I did not know this before the movie, but from my understanding now, Pharrell Williams either wears or is involved with companies, like fashion companies, that use animal products or like test on animals for their products, or like they use like fur and stuff like that of animals when they're manufacturing their products. So the protester was actually a PETA protester. PETA later took responsibility for it, and the whole time they were shouting about animals and things like that. So they were the ones that interrupted the screening. I guess they were just trying to get Pharrell's attention to bring awareness to animal cruelty and things like that as well. You guys saw from the video, I filmed the whole thing. I was at the screening, and I filmed it. This happened in September. I filmed it, posted online, and I was pretty amazed by Pharrell's response. Like, I'm not going to get political on this channel. You guys don't come to hear about my political views. I don't want to hear about your political views. I keep this policy free. So regardless on your stance on it or not, I thought Pharrell's answer was very, very nice, because it was a fair, like, obviously the protester is very upset. He handled it really well. If anyone rushed the stage at me, I would have been scared for my life and probably would have had security like tackle them, but he didn't. He was like very respectful. He listened to her. He tried to have a little bit of a dialogue with her, and then like address the crowd and give a really, in my opinion, a pretty good answer about like talking about how he totally understands, and like how they have conversations behind the scenes that like unfortunately some people just aren't aware of. And like he actually, I saw he had the screening in London, I think, as well, and the same thing happened where a PETA protester rushed the stage and he gave kind of the same response. So at first I was like, oh my god, wow, this man is so down to earth and humble. I still think he is, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think he is, but it definitely felt like a very rehearsed and very PR answer. So I'm guessing he does have these PETA protesters a lot for his involvement with these companies. So that is essentially why the protest happened. Again, we're not getting political here. You take it what you will. Watch the video just like I did and hear what he had to say. But basically, yeah, that's why a protester did rush the stage, just kind of protest his involvement with animal cruelty. And all right, you guys, we got through a lot of really good questions here in this episode. I'm so happy to be back after my time in Europe. Of course, if you guys haven't seen all my Europe content, you definitely have to go check that out. I had so much fun while I was there making everything, and you guys are certainly not going to want to miss it. So thank you guys again so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you all here in the next video.